Hi there, welcome to Unit 8 Learning Outcome. I can add and subtract polynomials. So the most important thing you need to know, you can only add and subtract like terms. Super important that we understand like terms. So a reminder of like terms. Like terms have the same variables with the same exponents. Okay, so as we do these problems, you need to look for like terms. Okay, as we do that, you want to, I'm going to take the strategy of writing terms next to each other. All right, so this is an adding problem, 2x to the third minus 5x squared plus x plus the quantity 2x to the second plus x to the third minus 1. So first I'm going to look for the biggest exponent that I see. The biggest exponent I see is 2x to the third. Okay, and over here I see a plus x to the third. So I'm going to rewrite my problem with those like terms next to each other. 2x to the third plus x to the third. Okay, next up. Next biggest exponent I see is a 2. So, whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to highlight that. There we go. So negative 5x squared. Notice I keep that negative right in front. And 2x squared. So I'm going to rewrite those. Okay, so minus 5x squared plus 2x squared. Okay, next up I see an exponent of 1 on this x, and oh, there's nothing that matches that in the other problem. So I'm going to just write it by itself, plus x, and then I see this minus 1 hanging out by itself. So I'm going to put that all by itself, minus, oops, not in green, in black, minus 1. So now that I have all my like terms next to each other, I can add them together. So I see 2x to the third plus x to the third. If you don't remember, there's a 1 in front of that. So 2 plus 1 is 3x to the third. Remember, the exponent does not change, only the coefficient changes. Okay, I've got negative 5x squared plus 2x squared. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3x squared. So you could write it as plus negative 3x squared or just minus 3x squared. Okay, that x has nothing to add with, so just plus x. And then that minus 1 is hanging out, that constant, all by itself. That's my final answer. Okay, let's look at another one. So same kind of question, just add the polynomial. Okay, so I want you to try this. Identify the like terms and try to add it as best you can. When you're ready, feel free to move on. Okay, next up is the subtraction part. So I'm going to have you rewrite subtraction as adding the opposite. You've heard that before. Subtraction is just adding the opposite. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to subtract, we're going to add the opposite of each of these things. So we are only subtracting this part. So we're only going to add the opposite of those. So all of these things are going to stay the same. I'm not going to change the problem at all that way. So I've got 4x to the second minus 3x plus 5. Plus, okay, the opposite of 3x squared is negative 3x squared. Okay, I see a negative x, so the opposite of negative x is plus x. Or plus a positive. Okay, the opposite of negative 8 is positive 8, so I'm going to do plus positive 8. Okay, so now I can see this problem a little bit better. Now I can identify my like terms and group them. So I see a 4x squared and a negative 3x squared. So I'm going to rewrite those. 4x to the second plus negative 3x to the second. You could have just written minus 3x squared there. It's the same. Okay, I see a negative 3x and an x. Those are like terms. So I've got minus, whoops, in black, minus 3x plus x. Okay, and finally this 8 and 5. So plus 5 plus 8. So now the problem is exactly like the one before. It's just adding. It was just all about that first step. So if I add these together, 4x squared plus negative 3x squared is 1x squared. Do you have to have the 1? Of course not. Okay, negative 3x plus x is minus 2x. 5 and 8 plus 13. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that strategy of rewriting subtraction as adding the opposite. So I want you to try that other problem out. Bring any questions you have to class or comments, and we will just practice then. Thank you so much.